Welcome to Button Down Gaming. My name is Jay, and I am playing with myself. Alright, so last episode we were about to listen to Snurf talk about his people's method of procreation, but he wanted to make sure that we were ready to speak at length. So let's see how much of this episode is talking about how Snurf fucks. Gotta remember how he talks. Deprived of the layers of sociological complexity, the process is quite simple, the visitant says. At a certain age, my people ceremonially choose a limb for removal. The limb is grown into a new being. Children, in your terminology. It sighs. This is where matters get more complicated. The selected part relegates the child to a caste. Armed children become laborers, leg children become warriors, and head children, due to the sacrifice implied in their creation, become leaders. Interesting. Snurf studies its metal hands. As I've suggested, the limbs we surrender do not grow back. In fact, those who replace their limbs insult their children and sin against their people. This is where your biomechanical arms come in, I imagine. You are correct, it says. Unfortunately. I surrendered my arms to create my children, it says. They grew to maturity and joined me in my study of various void-born Numenera. For a time we were happy. It lowers its eyes. Then I discovered a melted humanoid figurine. I did no more than glance at its folded arms before it opened its eyes. That is the last thing I remember. I awoke with the arms you see now. Snurf sighs. The F? My children, thinking I had disowned them, disowned me, and my people were even less merciful. I'm sorry that happened to you. Good, you deserved it. Your sympathy is appreciated but not warranted, the visitant says, though it is avoiding your eyes. I have found other ways to take my mind off the loss of my family and my people since. Alright. It was only when I began visiting other worlds that I learned that most species do not reproduce by severing their limbs, Snurf says, shaking its head. The discovery fascinated me, and so I began cataloging the various methods of procreation found throughout the void. It was only when I found my way to Sega's Cliffs by way of the Bloom that I was offered a place to work, here, in the Order of Truth. And there you have it, the visitant says, folding its mechanical arms. Interesting. Tell me about one of the ones you find fascinating. Calorales. Though they are brutal creatures formed from organic and inorganic substances, they do share certain characteristics with my people. They do not have genders and reproduce by expelling an organic mass deep into moist, fertile soil. The mass eventually grows into an autonomous being. What else would you like to know? Oh god, this is gonna be good. Flesh pups, or skin swimmers, are particularly interesting, if somewhat gruesome. The tiny parent painlessly invades a host organism, who does not notice the parasite until a painful, rigid swelling appears on their torso or neck. Once the host is drained of nutrients, the boil bursts, releasing a glistening flood of newborn pups. God, that's gross. It reminds me of Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, I think. Or Scary Stories for Sleepovers, where the spiders laid eggs in their cheek or something like that, and then they hatched and skittered. In the drawing was so morbid, and everyone knows these books, and you probably even know that particular story in that particular drawing, but that's what that reminds me of. Secondly, I love that they did this. I'm sure it was either one person just had to come up with as many ideas for different ways to procreate as you could possibly find, and or they had to solicit the rest of the writing team or the rest of the team in general for interesting ideas. And so I'm going to give that its due. What else would you like to know? Zeomarsh, also called rot blooms, fell their prey with venomous stingers and plant their fertilized eggs directly into the corpse. In little more than a week their children are born, thrusting up through the decaying, yielding flesh like flowers in bloom. Okay, these are all awful. Tell me some good ones. The human method is particularly fascinating and intricate. It involves... It trails off. Oh, I beg your pardon. Please, do go on. Really? The visitant says, surprised. Is this your first time hearing about human sexual reproduction? Assume it is. Go on. I'm listening. Gladly, the visitant says. Human sexual reproduction, at the simplest level, requires genetic material from all the partners, which can range from 2 to 29. At the beginning of the ritual, the partners often remove their clothes, masks, and expensive shoes to reveal their flesh to the other members and any watching deities. Pardon me, but are you all right? I'm listening. Go on. Of course, as I was saying, once the clothing and accessories have been successfully discarded, intercourse can begin. With a mighty cry, the dominant participant exposes their abdomen, and all of the members of the coital cluster prepare themselves for supreme pleasure. The visitant frowns. I have inadequate information on the next portion, but I am told that penetration occurs. My subjects were somewhat vague on what was penetrating what. Can I tell them? At any rate, once all the partners are satisfied, they conclude the sex act with a firm handshake. Snurf leans in. Between the two of us, I believe that most of that information was fabricated as a joke at my expense. Fortunately, I have been invited to observe a human mating ritual next week. I look forward to adjusting my data. You see, that was totally worth it. Alright, bye.
Fine.
I gotta talk to all the people in here. Now, what's this stuff? The desk is cluttered with scrawled notes, piles of paper, and worn books. The owner was either extremely disorganized or left in a hurry. Examine it! You rustle through the mess of documents and notes. Most of them discuss the buildings and architecture of prior worlds. They're filled with drawings and descriptions of bizarre structures uncovered by scholars and explorers. The owner of this desk seems to have been particularly interested in doors, door frames, and archways. He has drawn circles around all such things, but his scrawled comments are never more revealing than similar but not a match, or could there be a connection here? Examine them again. Letters of personal correspondence, foreign language. Examine again. Yet, nothing more.
Let's go.
What's this stuff? More looking at things. Oh! Calestige!
My scintillating wit was lure enough to bring you back, I see.
What can you tell me about this place? The Order of Truth, a combination of brilliant minds and the most rigid set of ethics you've ever seen. Or so they'll tell you. Between the two of us, they eat from the hands of the slave families and would never dare cross their benefactors. What I'm saying is you should watch your back. Why did you choose to come here? Where else would I go? The underbelly? Here at least I have access to the minds that might challenge me, not to mention their libraries. Will you... No, farewell.
Yes. Now.
Maybe we'll come back later. Alright. Now will you talk to me? Do I have to ask him again? Oh, did I not talk to Lon Uring? Okay, farewell. I don't think I talked to this dude. The thin young man smiles hesitantly as you approach. You notice a small metallic ovoid protruding from his skull, nearly hidden by his disheveled hair. The fingers of his left hand tap nervously on his leg as he speaks.
Yeah, I'm not a real priest yet, he blurts, then blushes. If that's what you were thinking. Usually visitors only talk to me because they think I'm a priest, but I'm still a novice.
He plucks at the threadbare spot on his robe. What is that implant on your forehead?
It's not just on my forehead, he says. Not just the skin. I mean, it's bonded with my skull.
He blinks at you a few times before he realizes he hasn't answered your question.
It keeps me awake and alert. I don't get tired until it runs out of power.
What powers it?
Dreams, he says. The scarier ones, the better. All right. What's your area of study? What? He says, blinking, straightening. You want to know what I'm working on? Are you sure? Why, is it particularly complicated? I don't think so, he says, looking down. But people usually get, impatient or angry or they laugh. He looks back up. But I'll tell you, if you really want to know.
I do.
I'm designing an intelligence, he says, but not the normal kind, not just metal or with a dependent intelligence rigging system. No, it's larger than that, stronger.
Lan himself seems to be getting stronger, rising as he speaks. You hadn't noticed before, but he is actually taller than you.
The idea is this, an intelligence that can find, test, identify, and fully understand Numenera. We can unlock the secrets of lost civilizations.
His eyes are gleaming now, and he raises a trembling fist.
Do you understand? If we do this, we can break the chains binding us to the past and turn them into reins with which to steer the future.
I can't help but noticing your plan is long on rhetoric and short on specifics.
I have a plan, he says defensively, dropping his righteous fist. But it will take more time and money.
The fervent gleam slowly fades from his eyes.
It's only a theory, though, for now. I don't have the funding, not yet, but I've been studying machines with Min, and when he can spare the time, and he likes my ideas, even if he thinks they're impossible.
He looks away.
I think he's disappointed I'm not a real Aeon priest yet.
Do you want to be one?
Oh, yes, he breathes. That would change everything. Only full Aeon priests have access to the Order's funds. I can use them to build a full prototype. Min might protest, but he'll understand once I get the design right.
He licks his lips. They're dry, almost leathery.
I just need to get it right, that's all.
What do you need to become an Aeon priest?
You have to make a major discovery, he says. A mystery that's remained unsolved for a long time, but I've spent too much time on my own research.
He looks down at his feet.
I haven't gotten anywhere.
I'll tell you about something I've discovered. You can claim it as your own and become an Aeon priest.
You will? He says, blood draining from his face. Is that allowed?
You're devoted to research. Look at this as an interested colleague supporting your studies. I don't know if that's good or not. He flushes so deeply that it's a wonder his clothes don't burst into flame.
Thank you, he whispers. I'm ready. What discoveries have you made?
What sort of discoveries will help you?
Really major ones, he says, looking frustrated. The causes of long-standing problems in the city, for example, or solving a mystery that's remained unexplained for a long, long time.
When I find something useful, I'll let you know.
Oh, he says, all right.
All right, well, farewell, I guess. And farewell to you, too. So next time on Button Down Gaming, we'll be playing some more Tides of Numenera. I kind of like that guy. He's pretty cool. I like these two right here. Both of these guys. Snurf and Lon Uring. So come on back next time and watch me play with myself.